Hello, it's Andrew Wood back with another True to the Game video, and I'm going to be talking about some advice that's just universally applicable to any RPG. Work everything on the character sheet of every player into your game somehow. Now, you don't have to work this into every game session, but at some point in the campaign, make sure those skills that the player has taken, that some might call wasted skills, make sure you work those in at some point so that you can have some use for them. You might even be able to come up with a really interesting idea just based around that. Like, how am I going to work basket weaving into my game? What can I do with pottery? Well, think about it for a while, because there's something you can do with it. And if a character's put that down on their character sheet, that means they're interested in working that out through the game. And if you what we like to call air condition that, if you just don't really get with what the players want, you're going to have them kind of resenting their choices. They're like, oh, why did I waste points here? That's not really relevant. And you're sort of working against yourself, because the character sheet is really a great cheat sheet for game masters. You pick it up, you look at it, and you can deduce a lot about what that player wants to do in your game with that character, and how you as a game master can help produce that. They're basically, a character sheet basically is almost like a little pile of notes that the player is giving you, and you can look at it and go, okay, well, this character or this player really wants to have a lot of scenes where they're able to show off their drive skill and really be able to rev up the engine, have some cool high speed chases, because they have tons of drive and some specializations there, so we can really run it off there. Or if you're playing D&D, work that bardic knowledge in a lot. Give them myths and legends and lore. Talk about the ancient ruins that are over here, and how they have a legend to this short sword, about a duke that used to rule the area. Go in and if you're looking in the futuristic type games, and they have a lot of ranks in piloting, give them some really cool space scenes, or something like in episode 1 of Star Wars, where they're running the pod race around. A scene like that could be a sort of an interesting diversion. If the character has lots of ranks in gambling, work that in. And also work in the things they might only have one dot in, or just a very small, a 5%, something like that. And they go, whoa, that's pretty interesting. And in D&D, the game masters I play with work in knowledge, architecture, engineering, constantly. I mean, it's even one that's hard for me to work in. I make sure I get in there from time to time, but they pop that. That's like the money skill to have in that game. And I find, particularly if you look at D&D or World of Darkness, a lot of times there's knowledge or lore skills, and a lot of game masters that I would say forget to work in how important those are. And that's definitely something that should have a lot of relevance. Your history type skills, your occult type skills, these should have a lot of relevance in games, and a lot of importance in terms of the characters being able to figure and piece things together, your ability to investigate. And you want to, again, basically the message here is to look at your character sheets. Use those as a cheat sheet for yourself. Figure out what the player wants to do with that character, and incorporate in some way every power, spell, dot, lore point, knowledge, percentage that character has invested any degree of points into, and work it into the game in the best way you can figure out. And it can be a great way to jumpstart ideas for you. And the player is likely to come to you, wow, that was a really, really clever how you actually put this over, or take their flaw and sort of use it in a creative way, or take their their merit and use that in a different way than they're expecting. You're really going to come through and impress your player, because what they're there to do is have fun, and they're going to have fun when you incorporate what they want to do with their character. And the easiest way to do that is just by looking at what they're already telling you. You don't even need to ask them. The character sheet is full of answers for you, and it's going to make you look like a genius, because you didn't have to ask the player, and he's not going to underestimate your talent at all after you've wowed him by throwing that scene where you're using that unique ability. Or you can be even a little sly about it, and just sort of work that whole thing in there and go, oh wow, I didn't know anybody had that skill. Wow, that's really good that you did that. And you could just play a little naive, and then that player will go, aha, I got one over. I was really smart to have that, and all the more they're going to feel all the more better about their selection, and that in itself is just going to feed the game. It's going to make them really more immersed in the game, and then they're going to be happier to come back, and they're going to be willing to try things that are further out. They're not just going to make that stock character that has the same things, those same money skills. Make all the skills as close to money as you can in your game, and you're going to have characters that are more likely, or players that are more likely to bring the odd stuff in, the different stuff in, and create a more interesting, more elaborate, more unique character.